I think it's time for round 2. So, the last time I tried to install a custom ROM on the Samsung Galaxy S7, it actually ended up being one of my most infamous videos. Mainly because I didn't realize the Snapdragon versions of these phones actually had the bootloader locked, but this time I got an international version that uses exynos, so we should be good. Right? Only one way to find out, I guess. Let's get started. Okay, so first things first, we're probably going to want to hit up XDA. And yeah, wow, we got a lot of support for the international model. You got One UI 4.1, you got Android 14 with Lineage OS, and we also got some other fun community projects here, so yeah, this phone is just going to be a blast to mess with. First things first though, we got to unlock the bootloader on the phone itself. To do that, we go to About Phone, Software Information, and spam the build number, as usual. Now we head to Developer Options, and okay, OEM Unlock was already enabled. Maybe that Chinese reseller of this phone I bought off eBay was doing something behind the scenes, but I don't think it really matters. Okay, so the next step is that we need a custom recovery to boot into, so yeah, here we go, TWRP. Okay, here we go with the Samsung bullshit. Okay, so warning 1, flashing a custom recovery will trip the Knox warranty bit. I mean, you know, it's better than using Android 8 today. And the next warning says the stock boot image has DM Verity, which prevents us from booting if we swipe to enable system modifications inside TWRP. I mean, we're not going to be using the stock software to begin with, so does it really matter? Warnings aside, to download TWRP, we go to the official webpage for it, and we go to Primary Americas, and then we grab the latest .img.tar file. Oh, you know what? We're probably going to need Odin too, right? To tell you the truth, I'm not even sure if I can show the full website domain I downloaded this from. Thanks, YouTube TOS. Now's the part where we connect the phone to the computer. Anybody else find it kind of stupid you gotta put in your pin to turn them off? And now with the phone off, we gotta hold volume down, power, and home. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't miss this green screen one bit. Now, it's been a while since I custom ROM to Samsung, so I'm not exactly sure if I have to like issue some sort of command to unlock the bootloader, or we can just like flash the TWRP file. Wait, what? Why is it not showing up? Oh, that's because the file's right here. Yeah, I should really start paying attention. And looks like it flashed correctly. Now we boot into recovery mode by holding volume up, lock, and home. Wait, what? That's not the right thing. Oh, you know what? I remember reading something online that if you let the phone boot without going straight into recovery, it kind of like overwrites the custom recovery, so let's try it one more time. Okay, and after it flashes, we immediately gotta get on the buttons. Okay, damn it! Alright, let's do it a third time, and this time I'm gonna uncheck auto reboot. Alright, so we reflashed it, now we jump into recovery mode. Wait, really? I can't just jump into recovery mode from this? I gotta turn it off like this and then do that? And we should be seeing the TWRP logo, right? There we go. It seems like this slider right here was what they were warning us about earlier, but you know what? We're gonna find out what happens. We're actually making some pretty good progress so far, so next up, what ROM do we install? The first one I want to try out here is definitely Lineage OS 21.0 or Android 14. And if you want to see One UI on this thing, just stay tuned, because I'll get to it in a bit. Lineage OS 21, blah blah blah. Okay, where's the download? It seems like all the major stuff is working except for some really niche stuff, so I think it'll be a great experience. To install the ROM on the phone, we head to Advanced, ADB Sideload, swipe to start it, and then on Windows we go into Command Prompt, change into the ADB directory, and then we punch in ADB Sideload and then just drag the file in there, and hopefully it works. And after 5 minutes of waiting, it seems like the custom ROM flashed with 0 issues, which is a gigantic surprise when it comes to Samsung. Please tell me it boots. Okay, it just restarted. That's not a good sign. Okay, I knew it. Yep, we're in a boot loop. According to the TWRP page on XDA, to fix it, we have to install this file right here, transfer it over to the device, and install it inside of TWRP. Kali Linux? What? Okay, so that's pretty cool. The link here just takes me to a completely unrelated website, so I guess we gotta find that file ourselves. Took a look at this on Google and I found this universal tool that may or may not work, but the problem with that is that the storage is kind of messed up on the phone, so how are we gonna transfer it over? It's a good thing the Galaxy S7 has SD card support, huh? Just have to pop this open, put the card in, and hopefully our problems are solved. Let's reboot one more time, and now we'll try to flash Lineage OS again and see if it works. Ah, damn it. Whenever I try to wipe the data on the phone, I just get an error that says unable to mount storage and data. So you know what, why don't we try to like downgrade TWRP to an older version, because that's usually how I fix these issues. Instead of 3.7, why don't we try out 3.5? With the older version booted, maybe we'll be able to wipe it now. Okay, great. So I went back to the drawing board and took a look at the Lineage OS wiki page, and apparently we gotta download the .img file and not the .tar file. Are we even gonna be able to flash the .img file though? Yeah, no, it's not finding that file in there, so maybe if we like just install Heimdall and use this to flash TWRP, will we get a different result? Will it work now? Of course not. In my quest to fix the issue, I found this 10-year-old XDA article with a guy who has the same kind of learning disability that I do. And the reason I say that is because the first response tells me something that's already explicitly stated in the instructions for TWRP. So I was wasting my time doing this, hitting advanced wipe, when I should have just hit this and hit yes. It's the phone's fault, okay? After doing that, we booted straight into Lineage OS, so finally, the suffering's over and we have installed a custom ROM on the Galaxy S7. We gotta set a pin, and we should be, yeah, there we go, we're able to use biometrics. I'm really happy they managed to make this work on Lineage OS because biometrics are just so convenient. My initial impressions of Android 14 on this phone is that it's pretty solid, but there is just like the tiniest bit of stutter that I want to bitch about. But I mean, we did literally jump 6 Android versions ahead, so it's not that big of a deal. Now, the main reason you'd install a custom ROM on a phone like this is mainly if you just like the look of stock Android or the features newer Android has. Because even though it's Android 8 and we're on 16 right now, it still has pretty good app support. But I mean, at the same time, just come on, look at this design language and compare it to Samsung Experience 9, world of difference. And because it's stock Android, and no offense to Lineage OS devs, but there's not really too much interesting going on here, I'm just gonna speed through this and download Geekbench and then move on to the next ROM. After running the benchmark, the scores are actually kind of within margin of error. Pretty impressive for Android 14, but we don't have like any Google Play services installed on this phone, so what's gonna happen when we try to use One UI? And luckily I found just that, One UI 6.1 ported all the way back to the Galaxy S7. I'm reading the features and it says it's very debloated, and it also includes Galaxy AI, which it's kind of weird because, you know, this is bloat right here. From the looks of it, it's a very involved process to install One UI, so I guess we'll get started. First, we need Anon Jacer TWRP, so is it around here somewhere? If you are new, download TWRP from here. And then we need to download the repartitioner and cleaner, and then finally the ROM itself. Alright, let's go back into download mode, flash the custom TWRP, now we pop open ADB, and then flash the repartitioner. After that script finishes, we gotta flash the cleaner. Then we check if there's any partitions that aren't able to wipe. It says if they are unable to mount, we gotta change them to ext4 and change the data partition to f2fs. And then we'll change data to this one right here. And then it says to wipe fender, which I'm not exactly sure how to do, so I'm just gonna do what worked before and wipe all of these. Finally, I think that's enough prep work, and now we can install One UI 6.1 on the Galaxy S7. Hope it works. Oh, there's actually a GUI to install the ROM, that's kinda weird. Legal and trademark acknowledgement? Ah, okay. Choose mods to apply to ROM. Use earpieces as secondary speaker, that's pretty cool, I'll enable that. Launcher animations. I guess we'll just go with fast. Choose Samsung apps to include. I guess I'll like use the system apps. Samsung Dex, that'll be pretty cool. Select your preferred kernel tweaking. I guess I'll just like go with Thunder tweaks, that sounds pretty cool. Choose UI, cause holy shit, dude, how many options are there? There we go. Now hopefully when I hit reboot system, we're actually gonna reboot into One UI and not just get a boot loop again. I mean, has it restarted yet? That's a good sign. Shit. I'm not really sure exactly what I did wrong here, so this time I'm gonna move all of the files that I sideloaded from the computer onto the SD card itself. And my amazing ability to not follow instructions strikes again, because apparently I forgot to flash system.zip first and then flash this file. After installing the system file, finally we have One UI booting on the Galaxy S7. It does look like One UI, but honestly, it's kind of hard to tell with this terrible ambient light sensor setting. You're all set up. I did like 2 settings, but okay. I daily drive a Galaxy Z Fold 7, and even though One UI is a bit newer than this honestly, it looks pretty identical to it. But the first thing we should change here is the buttons at the bottom, because they stick out like a sore thumb. Let's see, it should be like in gestures, right? Yeah, here we go, navigation bar. I guess it is pretty redundant to have swipe gestures enabled on a phone that has a home button, but I guess it gets rid of the buttons, so it's good enough. One thing that does feel kinda out of place in this custom ROM though is how every single action kinda has like a really intense vibration, which I guess it's the fault of this phone. Because when you do an action like this on a newer Samsung phone, it has like a gentle haptic, but here it's just like full bzzz. But again, it's a phone from 2016, so why don't we just shut up and take a look at Thunder tweaks? No root. Oh, okay, well, cool app. Always on display. Oh, you know, does that still work here? Okay, that actually looks really cool. Oh wait, what? It shuts off? What, did the ROM just crash? Okay, so the always on display just crashes the phone entirely. That's neat. I'm about to reboot the phone, and we also have the One UI 6.1 charging logo, which is pretty cool. Let's try that again. One of the things One UI excels at is multitasking, so I wonder how well it's gonna work here. Okay, I mean, the speed, it's not bad, but could be faster. Do we have the 90-10 split? Oh, you know what? Yeah, that was a One UI 7 feature. That's not going to be here. This is about what's expected when you try to run this new of an OS on this old of a phone, but it's kind of slowing down a bunch when you're doing multitasking. But even if it's a bit slow, honestly, it's not completely unusable. It just really goes to show how solid of a phone the Samsung Galaxy S7 is, and you know, how cool it would be if Samsung actually let people install custom ROMs on them. Did you hear that they're actually planning to remove Odin mode from these things? Crazy, right? Next, I wanted to take a look at Samsung DeX because officially the S7 never got that. So we just hit this button right here, and will it connect wirelessly, or... I don't have a micro USB to HDMI dock, so you know what, let me turn on my TV with Miracast and see if that works. It's fine on the TV on my Z Fold 7, but not on the S7. Guess I'll see you tomorrow when I order an HDMI to micro USB. And one day later, even with the adapter, still nothing. Really disappointing. And I do get the argument that I shouldn't complain because, you know, it's One UI 6.1 in the Galaxy S7, but this custom ROM, unfortunately, it's way too unstable to daily drive because every single time I leave the phone off, it just crashes. So let's reboot one more time and take a look at the Geekbench scores. Comparing it to the Geekbench scores for Android 8, we're actually getting 393 compared to 359. That can't be right, come on. Because even though it says it's performing in the benchmark, One UI itself, it's not the fastest on here, but I guess it's usable. It's just kind of a shame we couldn't get Samsung DeX working on that thing, because that would have been really cool. Anyways, that's installing a custom ROM on the Samsung Galaxy S7. Now, if you had to choose between One UI or Lineage OS to daily drive on this phone, I would pick Lineage OS hands down, because, yep, cool, phone just crashed again. I do tend to prefer stock Android myself, so I might have a bit of a bias, but come on, you saw yourself, the phone just crashes itself. Anyways, let me know down in the comments, what other phones and what other custom ROMs do you want to see me install next? Thanks for watching, I'll see you later.